Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Inside Career Technical Education. It's so great to have you with us today. We've got a great story to tell, and we've got a great guest. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Baldwin.
And I'm Jim Bologa, President and CEO of YTI Career Institute and Porter and Chester Institute, and I'm your co-host. Ann.
That's right. You are. It's good to see you today, Jim.
Same here.
Everything is good?
It's good.
Everything is good. And you know what is even better is when we hear the success stories of some of your graduates. And that was exactly what we're going to talk about today. We've got with us today Brandon Tharp, and he graduated in the HVACR program at YTI Career Institute. And let's test Jim's knowledge first. What does HVACR stand for?
That's great, Ann. I love how you always hamming it up with me. So heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and refrigeration.
Yay, he passes the test.
Thank you.
So, Brandon, thank you so much for being with us on this podcast. We do appreciate your time. We know you're a busy guy working in the trade, working in HVAC. So thank you for being here. So why don't you tell us a little bit about you went into this technical trade a little bit after high school. So what happened after you graduated from high school?
So right after high school, my parents really urged me to go to college to try and do something. But in the end, we all know ourselves a little bit. And me working with my hands all the time, I just couldn't stand to sit in the classroom anymore and wanted to do something else and went into HVAC.
Well, and there's more to that story, too, but I think there's another message here, Jim, is that oftentimes other people think they know what's best for us, or we know what's best for our kids, right? And in this case, Brandon's parents, like a lot of parents, said, go to college.
Right.
But that didn't work out. So how long did you actually attend college before you stopped, Brandon?
Ooh, that's a sour subject.
Uh-oh.
The first semester, it was fun. I mean, you have all your friends there. I probably made it about a month and was like, I'll just go to work for a bit. Then the next semester came around and I was like, I'll do better. And I was like, you know what? I can't do this a weekend, and went to work for a while and then decided, hey, let's do something. I can't stay at this industrial bakery forever.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, I think it's important, as Brandon shares, his sort of story with us and our viewers and listeners. I think folks just have to realize that, college isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think that, in this time that we're in today, I talk to a lot of students, just like Brandon, and, one of the things that they had wished they had exposure to was some sort of career pathway for them to consider as well as college.
Right.
And, a lot of the students that we have, they will say to me, no one really, told me about this, in my high school years. And
Right.
I didn't have anybody in my family who might have been in a trade or any friends, and I think, again, for I think our viewers and listeners, it's another very viable path in this day and age for folks to consider, because, again, as we get into Brandon's story, I think folks need to realize that these are like real careers, real jobs, and these are jobs and careers that can't necessarily get outsourced.
Right,
And,
right. They're essential workers, and these are things that you need. I mean, think about HVAC. Think about where you need it. Every business, every household, everybody needs HVAC repairs. And you know what? You try it. You call and ask for a repair. We'll be out in 2 months. So.
Yeah, no, and I think the other thing too is as we continue to work our way through the pandemic, I think for the first time, folks are actually concerned about the air quality in their homes and the places that they work, and maybe their religious organizations, and and anything and everything that we do.
Right.
I mean, I think folks are now a little bit more aware of the quality of air and the environment they're in.
Absolutely.
Just given that,
Right.
I think the awareness the pandemic has brought upon all of us.
Right. So, Brandon, how did you come across YTI Career Institute in York, Pennsylvania?
So a friend of mine, his brother actually went to YTI, and I knew nothing about it. But previously, when I was in high school, like, I had tried to go to VOTech, but I was too late, and they already took classes in, so I was kind of behind. on that aspect, so I didn't get to go that path. But after working so many years and talking to him about it, seemed like a good idea. Like you said, everybody loves heating and air conditioning. Like, people are very uncomfortable when you don't have it.
Right.
So it's always going to be around for a while.
Yeah, and Brandon brings up a good point, Ian, in that I think for a lot of students, they need to make a decision fairly early in their high school career about maybe their future.
Right.
And again, I think just like Brandon, not really sure what you were interested in. And again, those are still very formative years for all of us. And I think that we've experienced students, like Brandon, who didn't have an opportunity to get into maybe a smaller version of a program in high school. We also have students who also may get into a program and may determine that they don't like it in high school, or may get into a program and realize that they want more.
Right.
And so again, I think that we really our school, I think, helps cater to these individuals who experience these different paths.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So Brandon, after HVAC, which was what your classes lasted about 12 months, correct?
Yeah, that was correct.
All right. So was it hard for you to find a job right out of getting your degree?
No, I started where I'm at now like 2 weeks after.
And so where are you? Where are you right now?
Right now, I'm at Haller Enterprise, and it's been pretty phenomenal.
How long have you been there?
Complain. Since I've been out, so 7 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
I'm sure you're always learning, right? I mean, that's the thing that I also find very interesting is all of the educational programs we offer. When I talk to folks, just like you, Brandon, they'll say to me, it's all about continuous lifelong learning, and it's amazing to me how your learning doesn't stop with us. Your learning continues, as you're out in the field.
There's a lot of stuff out there. Honestly, it's never ending. Even some of the equipment.
So let me ask you. So I'm somebody who's considering a trade school, or anything, whether it's HVAC, whether it's healthcare, regardless of what it might be. What do you say to that kid who was you back in high school?
Yeah, Brandon. So think about the decision-making process that you went through. I mean, you heard about the school through a friend, and then what were the steps that you took to make the decision to come to school?
Well, I checked out different schools. Like, I went to ITT Tech to talk to them first, but had a bad vibe from them. I went straight to YTI, and then it felt perfect. They really pushed for me to go there.
Yeah, and what was sort of one of the maybe the features that you thought made a difference in your decision making process? Was it the industry modeled labs that you toured? Maybe talking to a faculty member? The assistance through the enrollment process? What were some of the things that stuck out to you as you went through that process?
Oh, it was definitely my advisor. I think it was Tamala Allison that I really talked to. She didn't push it. She helped me as much as I could and really secured my feeling to going into it.
That's great. And that's what those people are for, your support staff, Jim, because
right.
You don't ever go through this process alone. You start with the online process. You go to yti.edu. All the information is there. And then you have people that'll help you through the actual admission process all the way to career services, who helps these people, if they even need the help,
right.
In the end, find those jobs. So to the high school student right now that's undecided about what they want to do in their career, what advice do you have for them?
If you have an urge to do something, go for it. As long as it feels right, just go for it. Do your best.
And how do your parents feel now that you're successful? You've got a very successful trade career behind you, and it keeps on going. What do mom and dad say now?
No, of course, they're proud of me. So that's all we want, right? Make our parents happy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, do you ever have any conversations with your mom or dad about, the path you took and where you are today, and how maybe it was viewed as maybe not traditional when you did it?
See, I don't know about that, because my parents went to school and they got degrees, but they don't use their degrees. So that's kind of funny. like they push it so much, but
Right.
Well, and that's the
I don't know.
irony here. A
Yeah.
lot of people do get degrees and you end up doing something else. And the beauty about YTI Career Institute is there are so many different options. If people come onto a campus or they go online, maybe it's not HVAC, maybe it's CAD, maybe it's so many other options. Maybe it's
Right.
electrical, maybe it's automotive. But if you're a hands-on person or if you've got a hands-on, a kid or a son or a daughter, this might be for them because, like I said, every day is different. You're not sitting in a cubicle behind a computer. I can't even imagine. And you're making a difference, and you're making, more importantly, a really good wage.
Yeah, no, I think I do think that folks in general are starting to really take a hard look at what we call career and technical education, because I think it is a pathway to employment, and I do think that all the education and training that we provide, both on the technical and professional side, works to the student's advantage. And again, we have employers who are part of our program advisory committees
Right.
who weigh in on the material that we do teach students, in the greater context of the overall curriculum, as well as the equipment that we have in our labs, our industry modeled labs. And I think when students and their families do tour our campuses, one of the things I always hear is they're blown away because they just never, really thought about it or realized that this type of education existed, and it is a viable path for their son or daughter.
Right.
And because again, it gets back to, we only know what we know, and
Yeah.
we don't know what we don't know. And if you don't have anybody in your network, whether it's family or friends, that you have who can talk about, these vocations or these professions, you don't know any different, right?
You don't.
So,
you don't. And the other thing is that the instructors in all of these trades come from the industry. Did you find that was helpful, Brandon, while you were in class and while you were learning about HVAC?
Oh my gosh, yes. They're just, like you said, they just show you tips to make things quicker and makes things easier. They've seen it.
They've
Just
been
kinda
there, they've
common
done
sense.
that. Yep, absolutely. Well, this is great, and we always like to say we never say good luck to the people on this podcast because we don't have to. We always say continued success. And in your many years at the company that you're working for now, it sounds like you've worked your way up, and we know you have a big boiler waiting for you to fix it right now. So, thank you for sharing your story, and we do wish you all the best. And we hope that not only you, Brandon, you're here today helping us spread the word, but we hope that all of you that watch this podcast will help us spread the word about all the great trades that are available out there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, again, I think that for folks watching and listening to the podcast, we do offer a wide range of programs.
With flexibility, we might add, with the online component. Yep.
Absolutely. So again, on the skilled trade side, HVAC technician, right where Brandon's at, electrician, electronics, CAD, so computer-aided drafting and design. We do have some technology programs in computer and data management. And then on the healthcare side, we've got a vet tech program, a respiratory therapy program, a medical assistant program, a
Right.
dental assisting program, medical billing and coding, health information management, and expanded function dental assisting. And we also have, a culinary school, and as you know, and
do.
we have a pastry arts and a culinary arts and restaurant management program. So again, there's really a broad range of professions that someone could pursue, through YTI Career
Absolutely.
Institute.
So you need to check it out. Here's where you need to go. YTI.edu is the website. All the programs, all the information is there. And again, Brandon Tharp, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll let you get back to the job, all right?
All right. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we want to thank all of you for tuning in to this edition of Inside Career Technical Education. We'll be back again soon.